Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is an exciting 2025 release from Grand Seiko featuring the Evolution 9 style. This is the high-beat SLGW007. Now, the watch is also dubbed the Moonlit Birch, as it features the distinctive birch-style dial, but with a moonlit ambiance, as though you were looking at the white birches outside of the Morioka watchmaking studio, Shizuku Ishii, where the mechanical Grand Seiko watches are made. So this is the look of white birch at midnight outside of the studio. The watch is not large. It's nicely sized in steel at 39 millimeters in diameter. I measure it 10.5 millimeters thick and 44.9 lug-to-lug with a 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, and this wears quite nicely. You can see being short across the wrist, it wears well on a smaller forearm. And I could actually recommend this for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. So it's basically a unisex case size. It's not too broad across the wrist. It's also not too tall. You can see with the sloped bezel case flank and boxed sapphire, it'll slide easily under a dress cuff. It's a 30-meter water-resistant watch, so we are talking about dress watch water resistance. We have this lovely sort of pressed midnight blue or navy blue semi-gloss calfskin leather, and you can see it features a folded edge, a monotone stitch, and a dramatic amount of bolstering to give it thickness and body. You can also see that on the underside we have the buttery soft calfskin base for which Grand Seiko straps are known. They all feel soft and broken in, even when they're brand new from the factory. They're exquisite. And you can see right here, we've got a full folding clasp, steel like the case, twin trigger release, thick gauge steel. You have to press both triggers for it to open up. Grand Seiko branded. We'll roll around to the case now, and you can see polishes laid down by the Zaratsu method, or Zalitz machine polishing, a spinning tin plate used to mirror polish these shiny facets, satin brushing for contrast. You can see a little bit of a multifaceted polyhedron end profile to the lugs, which have more than one facet, all polished. We have strap tool holes in the lugs, because Grand Seiko was probably the last mainstream luxury brand that still expects you in the Rolex, Omega, Grand Seiko price class to be using a strap tool to swap straps, and that may be the case. So by popular demand, these remain on their models. Now, this tin plate polishing, this Zaratsu polish, is something that takes 3 years to master, and it is a hand polishing method, so this is a hand-finished case. We have a crown, features a combination of polish and media blast with the Grand Seiko vintage style logo, and we've got a bezel that's somewhat inset from the case band with two facets giving way to a facet up top that's actually brushed. You can see the flanking vertical and conical facets are polished, and then up top it's brushed for contrast. We have a dramatically boxed and cambered sapphire over that shaded and textured midnight birch dial. Now, Grand Seiko dial quality is, in the mainstream luxury class, co-equal with Rolex as the best in the industry. I always say Rolex gets there through automation and technical perfection. Grand Seiko gets there by going more slowly and using diamond-tipped tools to micro-cut all of these pieces by hand and then place them and caulk them by hand. You can also see that this has incredibly nuanced dial furniture. Note the difference between the satin and polished portion of the hands with that razor-like break between them, and then you can see the same treatment on each of the indices, plus the Grand Seiko logo. Now, the watch has no date, and there's no power reserve indicator on the dial side, though there is one on the case back for the 80-hour manual wind power reserve. It is a twin-barrel manual wind with an 80-hour power reserve, and it is a complication. Now, it also features a stop seconds function, so you can set it to a reference time, and it is 36,000 vibrations per hour, 10 beats per second, 5 hertz, just like a Zenith El Primero. So you have a smoother sweep to the seconds hand, and against the ear, it's got a higher cadence to it. You can see this movement right here. It's actually based on the 9SA5 that debuted back in 2020, but 40% of the parts are new in order to create the 9SA4, which is designed to look native as a manual wind and not look like a decapitated automatic. And so you don't get the sense that there's a missing winding bridge or rotor here. It looks very natural and as though it were a purpose-built manual wind. Couple of technical features. It's a big movement at 31.6 millimeters, so it nicely fills this case back. We've got 47 joules, which is exceptional for a manual wind watch. 6-position adjustment, one more than a standard chronometer, and it's tested on the test stand to run no worse than -3 +5 seconds per 24 hours. And it's got a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock resistance. And if you look at these little gold screws on the side, I think those are there to allow you to easily adjust end shake, which is an incredibly cool thing. It's similar to a setup used by Rolex on its balance bridges. The idea is to allow you to change the height to create a little bit more spacing between the capstone and the balance staff pivot. And that's sort of the idea between being able to regulate end shake. It's essentially how much clearance you've got top to bottom for your pivots. So it's a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock resistance. And you can see the architecture of the balance is such that all of the timing adjustments are done by moving these pairs of screws in and out. And then it's got an overcoil hairspring for concentric breathing in any position, so it'll keep consistent time no matter what position it is in. Now you can't see it. There is the dual impulse escapement in here. You can see the anchor, and that is very similar in a lot of ways conceptually to the Omega coaxial, and it has the same benefits of reduced friction, reduced maintenance requirements, and extended power reserves. Speaking of the power reserve here, I mentioned twin barrel 80 hours. You can see what they describe as a woodpecker style click, and that's that little mechanism right there. It's designed to prevent the barrels from running backwards. You can also see we have this lovely solarization and concave polish on the ratchet wheel. The bevels are mechanically laid but very clean and attractive. Frankly, Audemars Piguet does no better. And then all the screw heads are polished. We also have beveling in all of the jewel sinks, which is quite attractive. An engine turning on the base plate. It is a very, very good looking movement. Lots and lots to love, with a lot of thought put into the case, the dial, and the caliber each. 80 hours of power reserve, 36,000 vibrations per hour, distinctively Japanese from Shizuku Ishii. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.